everyone, and welcome to our first webinar of the year. I'm Veronica, product marketing specialist at Nordoon, previously known as extrakt.ai, and I'll be your host today. I hope your year is off to a great start. For us, it's been a big one already with our rebranding in January and a lot of developments ahead. When we launched extrakt.ai, we wanted to simplify operations with accurate data extraction. We know it's an absolute necessity, but it's not everything. As we worked closely with our clients, we understood the need for end-to-end automation solutions. That's why our vision gradually expanded and led to Nordoon, the AI-powered platform, as you can see here on the screen that I'm sharing, that not only processes and cleans up data, but also automates end-to-end supply chain processes. This helps businesses scale fast with strategies backed by real-time insights. Today, we are going to show you how AI agents can streamline your warranty validation process and turn it into a fast, error-free, and cost-saving process. And to walk us through the Power Automate side of things, I'm very happy to announce is Tyler Wasson, who is joining us again. Tyler is a Microsoft Power Platform specialist covering Power BI, Power Automate, and Power Apps. He's been working in retail, manufacturing, and IT for over 20 years, helping businesses optimize processes with automation. Tyler, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you again here with us.
Thank you, Veronica. It's great to be back. It's a pleasure speaking. It's a pleasure having the opportunity to speak with you today.
We always love having you back. And for everyone, I put Tyler's socials, so you can find him on LinkedIn and his YouTube profile. Now, let me walk you through the agenda for today. First, we'll do a quick overview of the problem that we're solving, and then I'll tell you how AI agents work in a nutshell. Tyler and myself would do a live demo on how to set up the Power Automate flow. Actually, that would be a bit more of a Tyler's area of expertise. And at the end, we've saved some time for your questions that we'll be answering. So you can feel free to drop anything you're wondering in the chat as we go. And Tyler and I will get to this at the end of the session. So let's talk about a real world challenge. One of our clients, let's call them Injectech, manufactures injection molding machines. So their customers are companies that buy these machines, and each one is covered by warranty. So here's where things get a bit tricky. The first problem that can arise is that some customers only submit valid claims, but others submit everything. So whether something is covered by warranty or not. And that can create a huge backlog for the manufacturer that has to go through each claim one by one. Injtech has different clients who have different agreements, which makes the validation even more complex. Another big problem is that the process is very slow and manual. Since everything is reviewed by hand, it takes a long time to verify claims. And then finally, with manual processes like these, companies similar to Injectech either approve too many claims, which leads to losing money, or reject too many claims, which leads to damaging customer relationships. So now I will show you, this is where AI agents come in, and I will show you exactly what they do and how they do it. Can you still see my screen? Yes, okay. So here's what a warranty validation AI agent does. He works by instructions which take the form of a process template. So here we have a process template. And each step is a set of instructions for the AI agent. I have pre-built this on our platform, and you can do also. So here is how the step-by-step follows. First, the AI agent checks the repair invoice. This would be this one. So the invoice that the company got from the company that repaired the machine. And then it verifies internal records such as operating hours, service history, machine details, or anything of the sorts. It cross-checks the warranty agreement. Here it populates with the machine details that it gets from the invoice. And then it cross-checks the warranty agreement to see whether the items are covered or not covered, and then compares the repair items against the warranty terms. So this would be step 4 in our case. And at the end, it creates a summary. It decides if the claim is valid and why, if it's valid or not, and why is it valid or not. So instead of manual reviews, Inject simply forwards an email to Nordoon app with the repair invoice, and within minutes, the AI agent gets triggered and starts working on it step by step. So all you would have to do is just forward the email with the invoice that I have shown you before, and the AI agents take care of the rest. In the end, all the data gets ready to be published, to be pushed in the folder that we have designed with Tyler in SharePoint. So I have here 2 folders. One is eligible, the other one is not eligible. So Tyler will now show us how we can create a Power Automate flow that automatically puts the invoices or the items that are eligible under this folder and the ones that are not under this folder. So he will be doing this from his side, so it will be his SharePoint. And now I'm giving it over to Tyler.
Thank you, Veronica. So I'm just bringing up my screen to share. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet, but I can. Yes, perfect.
Great. Okay. So our first action in the flow is always our trigger. And so when I receive the email from the AI service, it's going to be routed to my folder. It's going to be routed to my email. And within my email folder, it will be sent to a folder called nordoon.ai, and then that will initiate the trigger. Then we have 3 variables that we're creating. So our first variable is called var JSON explanation, and it's going to be a string, and the value is going to be 0 or null. Our next variable is going to be called JSON result. It's going to be a string, and it will not have a value either. And then our third variable is going to be called JSON serial number. It's going to be a string, and it's a value. So these are the variables. These variables are coming from, we're going to be storing the information from our JSON file that we received from the AI service, and we'll be using those later on in our flow. So our next action is going to be an apply to each. So essentially what we're going to be doing is looking at each of our different attachments that come from the email from the AI service. And so here, in order to see our attachments, we would select our dynamic content. And then from our trigger, when the new email arrives, we will select our attachments. So with Power Automate, we're either going to be selecting either dynamic content, which is typically items from our the flow that we've already created or creating an expression. So that's what we'll be doing throughout this process. Okay, so as we cycle through our different attachments in our email, we are going to next do a condition, which is just a binary set of results. So we're looking for either a true or false output. We want to look through our various attachments and determine which one ends in .json. And to do that, we are going to look for our attachment name. So this is going to be dynamic content. And then when a new email arrives, and then our attachment name, ending with, and then .json. So that will identify our JSON file. And when it does, our first action will be to convert the file from a base64 format to a string. And we're doing this so that we can actually work with the JSON file in Power Automate. So this is actually an expression. So we would just come here, click on the expression. We're using the function. So it's a built-in function called base64 to string. And the next part is going to be, it says item content bytes, which is actually dynamic content under the when new email arrives, and we would select our attachment content. Our next action is going to be a parse JSON action. And this is used to take the information from the JSON file and then convert it into a schema so that it can be used each time in the flow. So we're going to take our dynamic content from our compose action. So we have our compose base64, taking the outputs from that, which will give us our body here. And so the schema here is already created, but essentially what we're going to, or what we would do if we were starting from scratch, is I would take the content from the JSON file that we would get from the AI service, and then I would click here to use the sample payload to generate the schema. Then I would just paste in, and this is, well, it's hard to see. It's all the JSON from the file, and then we would click done, and then it would generate a schema based on the contents of that file. And then as long as that file doesn't change, or that format doesn't change, then the flow should run each time without issue. So that breaks down the JSON file into the various components that we can use for the rest of the flow. So let's take a look at our next action, which is going to be our set variable action. And this is going to take our previous variable and we're going to give it a value. So the first value is going to be the JSON explanation. We're going to select, so we have our three variables that we created earlier in the flow. So we're going to take our JSON explanation, and then here we're going to go to our dynamic content, and then we're going to look for our output from the parse JSON action. So here we would scroll down, we would look for the body explanation, clicking on this, and that's going to be our value here. We're going to do the same thing for our JSON result. It's another set variable. We're going to select the var JSON result variable, and then we're going to select the output from our parse JSON and look for the body result. And then lastly, we're going to be doing our JSON serial number. So we would select the var JSON serial number variable, and then we're going to take the output here from our parse JSON and then look for the body serial number. So that concludes our apply to each action here for our JSON file. Next, we're going to do what's called a switch action. And switch, think of it, it's similar to the condition. Instead of it being a binary, there's no limit to the number of routes that it can take. So for the switch, we're going to be taking the result, the var JSON result variable, and we're going to be using that as our evaluation for how we want to route the rest of the flows. So here we would just go to our dynamic content, go to the variables, and select var JSON result. So we have our results that are going to be items that are under warranty, items that are not under warranty, and then items that don't fall under either one of those categories. So for the items that are not under warranty, that's going to be our first case here. So we want to look for items, variables, the var result variable that equals to no. And then for those files, for those attachments, we're going to run it through this apply to each. So here we are going to take our attachments from our dynamic content from when our email arrives. And then our condition, we're going to be looking this time for files, attachment file names that end with .pdf. And then we're going to create the file. We're going to use our SharePoint site address, our folder path. In this case, we're going to be saving it under the folder path for items that are not under warranty. So in our SharePoint document library, I have a document library called Nordoon warranties, and I have two folders, one not under warranty and one folder that's under warranty. So in this case, we are going to be saving these files that are not under warranty under the not under warranty folder. And then we would select our file name. So this will be our attachment name. Under the when new email arrives, we would look for dynamic content and look for our attachment name. And then for file contents, it's content bytes. So here it's just look for the attachment content. After you run it, it'll probably update its name to content bytes, but it is the attachment content. Okay, so in our document library, we have two columns that we're going to be populating. So we have an explanation column and a serial number column. And to do that, we're going to use our update file properties action. And we're going to be selecting the same site address. We're going to be selecting the library name, which was Nordoon Warranties. And here we want to select the ID of where the file was saved. So in our previous action where we created the file, we want to be able to determine that row that the file was saved. And to do that, we would go under the first create file action that we did and select the body /item ID. And then by doing so, you should pop up the columns that are available. We have two, and we have our explanation column, which we're going to populate with our var JSON explanation. So from our variables, we want to select it with the output from the var JSON explanation, and then do the same thing for the var serial number here. So our next conditions, very similar to what we just did. In this case, we're looking for the JSON results that are equal to yes. So items that would be under warranty, we would be applying the next steps to the attachments in the email. We're looking for a condition, the same as before, with file attachments with the name ending with .pdf. If it's true, we're going to create that file. And then this time we're going to create it in the under warranty folder, which is this folder here. And same as before, we're going to select the file name and then the file content. And then lastly for this, we would update the file properties to update the two columns. So same as before, the Nordoon warranties library name, body ID, and then the var JSON explanation and var JSON serial number. So if the results from the file are not either a yes or a no, so it's neither under warranty or not under warranty. Kind of lies in the ether. So that would roll over to the default case. And in this case, again, everything's the same except here we're going to save it to the root directory, just Nordoon warranties. So essentially it would be right here instead of within these two folders. And the same as before, we would update the file properties here. So that takes care of the flow. So let's give it a try. Let's give it a test drive.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, so first thing, before I go and show you exactly how it works, here is where you would get the JSON file. So once you would send, this is what the result looks like once you send the invoice in, and here you would get the JSON file. So what we have to do now is copy this unique email identifier and just send the document to this unique email. Okay. And as you can see here, here is the email connector, but below is forward email. So this is not my email, it's actually Tyler's. This can be set up for your team. It doesn't have to go back to your email. In this case, as I've told you before, it will go to Tyler's email, to Tyler's SharePoint, because he has created the Power Automate flow. So it's going through him. And now if we go here, on the result, we can see that it was working, AI agent was working on the invoice, and now it's processed. So I will give it over to Tyler to show you what is happening on his end.
Thank you, Veronica. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so so essentially the email that's coming from the AI service is going to be hitting my inbox. I have a rule in Outlook to move it to the specific folder. If you remember up the top here, it was going to the Nordoon test. And here we can see our previous flows that we ran. We can refresh. So yeah, this is the one that it's already come through. We click on that. It shows that it was successful. And all these green checkbox are all good. Means that everything will look good. So we have everything solid here. So under our cases, we have, you can see our different results. So this came under successful under our warranty, and we can come and check the results here under the SharePoint document library. So
Tyler, are you back with it? Yes. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we left our webinar guests on a cliffhanger.
Oh.
Okay, so let's see now if we can see the results.
Let's try this again.
Next time we can just do the results will be in the part 2 of our webinar. Okay, great.
So can you see?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So as you can see, this time the PDF file is saved in our document library. We have our explanation that's coming from our JSON file here, and then our serial number, which is populated here. Everything went through as planned.
Perfect. Perfect. So this is the only folder that was filled. No other folders were.
So nothing in the root and nothing under warranties.
Perfect.
Not under warranties, yeah.
Perfect. So exactly what we want. Exactly. I can see that while we've been talking and dealing with Zoom, we got some questions in. So let me So we'll get straight to that. So for anyone that is wondering something or would like to ask Tyler or myself anything, now would be the time to do it because we're going to go through all the questions in the chats. So the first question that I see is, where do the AI agents get the warranty terms information? So that's a good question. The best way to explain this would be kind of to imagine that there are different AI agents. So one is the one that we mentioned, the warranty validation agent, and let's imagine him as like the boss of all agents, or like this particular team. So he knows what he's supposed to solve in the warranty claim, and based on the process template. So he has the process template, and based on that, he knows what he needs to get. So he kind of deploys his other agents to get certain things for him. So one of the other agents, for instance, has the task to build context for each warranty claim. So to do that, he's connected to the extrakt database. What he gets from that database are all sorts of things. One is, for example, the purchase order, invoice, or as we've mentioned before, so if the machine has been repaired or how often it has been repaired, how many hours it has worked, and so on. So this smaller agent's task is to check if and how the claim is to check the database, and then the bigger agent can decide based on all the data that he gets from the small agents that he deployed, if and how the claim is eligible. Yes, so based on that, he validates the claim. Okay, another question. What's the process for the buyer of the heavy machine if he has to claim a warranty-backed repair? Okay, so we were now talking about the supplier's perspective, so the manufacturer's perspective, but it's pretty much the same thing for the buyer of the machine. It's just a different kind of process template, but the logic behind it is very much similar. One AI agent is responsible for putting in a claim, and he needs to coordinate with other AI agents to do that. One needs to check if the warranty is valid, if the repair is covered by the warranty terms, and if the operating times have not expired, and so on. So another agent needs to follow with the next step and submitting the claim with particular details. Yeah. If you want to get an overview of all the warranty claims, their status, how many are solved, how many are not eligible. So you can do that. Nordoon app or platform can mine these warranty validation processes and guarantee you insights. So you can get insights into all of that. It's kind of like a portfolio, a profile for the customer or the supplier, indicating such data or how many were solved. Okay, so I can see that this is all the questions that we have for today. So on this point, I would like to thank everyone for joining us. I hope we gave you a little bit of a glimpse of what's possible. So today we focused on processing invoices, but AI automation can handle all kinds of complex workflows. We'll be hosting more webinars like this. We have hosted webinars in the past. It will probably, some of them will be with Tyler and myself, some of them will be with one or the other of our co-founders. So be sure to stay tuned to all the things that are coming. This webinar recording will also be available on YouTube, so you can check it there. It will be on our YouTube profile, YouTube channel, as you can see here, and on the one that I told you before. I showed you on the slides, Tyler's. So make sure you're subscribed to that. Plus, at the end, we always send the zip file of the Power Automate flow, so you can redo it yourself. It doesn't have to be as complex. You don't have to start from scratch. You have something to already work with, and then you just connect your SharePoint to it. Yes, thank you again for joining us, Tyler. Thank you again for being my co-host. It's always a pleasure working with you, and I hope to see all of you in the next webinar. Take care and see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.